Hey, Flava, how are you, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Yeah, okay, not too bad. I'm just taking a quick check on Twitch to see whether we are live. Was last week? Yes, we are live. The usual 10 seconds delay. All right. Uh, Welcome to the RWC Twitch TV. I think we'll wait for a few minutes for the rest of the people to start logging in to watch. Uh, I'm Richard Wee, and together with me is my good friend buddy. I normally call him Flava. So
Yeah.
what's up with you, man, Flava? How's everything?
I think so far it's all right. I think 2020 was a bad year. 2021 is like a recovery year for almost everyone. I would say majority. So I guess yeah, slowly getting better. I would say jumping onto new things from here and there.
Yeah, 2020 was a really strange year, lah. I mean, I it came and went, and I felt like 2020 didn't happen.
It's
um,
a year where people will try their level best to ignore.
yeah, I'm trying my best to ignore. Shout out from Ammo Box. I hope I pronounce your name correctly. Please forgive me if I don't correctly pronounce your name. Ammo Box
Uh
Studios. Yeah, must
yes,
be your
correct.
friend. Yeah, special mention
So
to you.
Immerbox Studios is actually a local esports game publisher. It's a local game publisher.
Ah, well done, Ammo Box. Keep it up, mate. Keep it up. Keep it up.
And they're coming up with a new game very, very soon. And well, basically this month.
All right, cool.
Something to look
I,
forward.
I think this StreamYard, eventually I need to. I don't know whether Zoom can go on Twitch because I know Zoom can go on Facebook, but Zoom can only broadcast to one place, whereas StreamYard you can broadcast to two, three places one go.
Uh,
Uh, so
because usually we use streaming software, so you can stream on multiple platforms. So
yeah,
I would suggest like XSplit, so we can click Facebook, YouTube,
correct,
everywhere at the
correct.
same time. So Streamlabs is actually one of the platforms that I can actually do
Yeah,
multiple.
I mean, for amateur streamers like me, stream. But I think it's time for us to. I mean, truth be told, this is the free platform given to us by StreamYard. I mean, it's a brilliant app given by StreamYard, and people like me can use it. But I
Mhm.
think we may have to purchase and acquire the license, so that using the license, then you and I can go both on Facebook and Twitch at the same time. Because actually, despite all my attempts to come to Twitch, Facebook is still very, very, very popular. Flower.
Yep.
Yeah,
It still is because I think it's the geographic. I think compared to the Westerners, they favor Twitch more compared to Facebook. So
yeah. Just like last week, what happened was that there was a technical issue on my end. We were clicking live to go to Twitch, and it didn't go on because, unfortunately, at the same time, my colleagues, we actually were broadcasting the logo, like, RWC Liga 8 live. So unbeknown to us, that was blocking our StreamYard coming in. So
oh
and then, so we were like, of course we are all amateur. We were like, oh, what the hell, what the hell, what the hell. So we got a bit panicky there. So on the spot, I told the guest speaker Cammy, I said, "Give me a second." So I clicked broadcast and I canceled this broadcast. I started a new one and went to Facebook. So
well, I guess we'll have to adjust to
uh,
the whole
and then
situation.
that one was like totally unexpected. No one expected us to be on Facebook.
Mm.
But surprisingly, that video, Flava, I think we got about uh, 400 fellas watching, after a few days. So not too bad,
Yep.
not too bad. Okay, it's already 4:04. Much of that, I see more and more people logging in to watch. Thank you very much. This is a free legal aid clinic. My law firm, Richard V. Chambers, we are one of the few law firms supporting the esports community. Flower will know. I think we've been around since 2017, 2016. I've been very fortunate to get to know good friends like Flower, Bleed, Master Raman, Benny, Adrian Gafu, Frank, Adrian's partner. Very. Oh, don't forget Michelle from WESG, AgriMinds. it's been a fantastic opportunity for me lah, personally, Flava, to meet people like you through my work in esports law. So what we want to do is to try and assist the Twitch community and the esports community through Twitch TV, and we'll do this every week. This RWC Legal Aid Clinic for about half an hour to 1 hour. It doesn't need to be long. Um, and this video will of course will remain on our Twitch account for 30 days. So those who missed it can still watch this again over the next 30 days. So very likely, Flower, after this, I'm going to share the link of this video to Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter so that other people can watch our talk today.
All right,
Yeah.
that'll be awesome.
So before we go further, can I bring on board? Guardian Angel is here. My ex-lawyer, Brian Boo. Much obliged, Brian. Always good to see you, man.
I like this. When you say ex, I was like, what? Lawyer. Oh, okay.
No, ex-girlfriend, I won't even recognize. Kena pukul lah, you know. So, Richard ni dapat nipu, habis lah, gone, yeah. So, but yeah, Guardian Angel, for the record, Brian Boo is a true esports lawyer. He's a really good esports. He really knows esports very well.
Wait, Brian Boo is Guardian Angel 07?
Yeah, don't ask me the name lah. So, let's make jokes.
Okay, Brian, you're a true gamer now. Okay, when I saw the name, I said, oh no, don't tell me that's Brian. It's like, okay.
Yeah, he's a gamer. He's a gamer. You know. Hey, maybe we should bring Brian on board lah. Brian, tell me if you're free, you can come on board. I'm going to give you the link to StreamYard and join in as a speaker. Give me an indication on the comment, Brian. Okay. And then there's Rain. Rain is also saying hello.
Actually, Rain, I would say it's very rare for me to say this, but he's actually one of my one of very few respectable people that I respect in the esports scene, because he is actually the team manager for the Fnatic Dota 2 team. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't know him that much because he's more like a behind the scenes kind of guy. But the amount of knowledge and contributions done to the esports ecosystem on an international level is super huge right here. But
okay.
Yeah, but I also don't like it that he doesn't support the local scene so much. But I understand he's busy on the international scene, so what he's there, all there. Yeah, he's highly in my books. He's like top 3. That's how high.
Well, this is what I get. Well done, Rain. Nice to see Malaysians doing well. Nice to see Malaysians doing. Anyway, I just sent the link to our StreamYard to Guardian Angel 07 to see whether he'll join me. I think I better find a new esports name lah, Flava. I got to find a new name lah. You know, maybe we can call. I use the name Sentinel of Law. Either some stupid name. I need to find some name which doesn't sound so dodgy. Okay.
I don't know.
I can see you're trying to avoid the topic.
No. I think it's good because I just want to inform you that we have, like, if you know One Izo from previously.
Yeah.
So he calls himself the reporter because he's a reporter, you know. So you can
maybe I can call Richard the lawyer, something like that.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. It's fine.
Okay, all right. Cash Gaming is here. So much obliged. Hi, Cash Gaming. Thank you for joining us. Flower, maybe you can introduce yourself very quickly. Your past experience, your job with not your work, your job, your position in the Esports Federation. All yours, Flower.
All right. Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to this podcast that we have right here. Probably brought to you by RWC. She's none other than our host right here, Mr. Richard Wee. My name is Muhammad Farouk bin Abubata. Most people in the esports scene will call me by the name Flava. That's considered my in-game name, my IGN. And currently I'm working I have the position of Director of Communications for the Malaysia Electronic Sports Federation. And I do work as an esports host, commentator, and speaker for esports events right here in Malaysia and in Southeast Asia. Yeah, and I've been in the esports scene since the year 2011, which is quite a while. And I started off as an esports commentator, and I transitioned into becoming a host because I feel that there's more job opportunities there, compared to actually become a commentator. Because back then, I only do esports commentaries for one esports game title, which is only Dota 2, right? But of course, upon special request by clients, I would do commentaries for the esports game title from time to time, like Mobile Legends, PUBG Mobile, even for Eximius Seas the Frontline, and Dota 2. Yeah.
But I have to say, Flower, when I first met you at the MSN hall a few years ago, I think
Yes, yes,
we were having the discussion about ages and also what was happening with the ESM at the time, because there
yes.
was quite I think there was a detachment between ESM and the community at the time. Um, like I said, I was very particularly impressed was your command of English and the fact that you dress up like a lawyer. I think I told you this many times, you know.
I thought it was a formal event, so I thought that maybe but since I think I was organizing the event together with former individuals, so I thought I should dress up for the occasion, like not like wear seleke for the event, just to respect everyone.
But I was impressed that you took the effort, and I was like, and I remember I turned to Brian Boo, who was next to me, and asked him, "Hey, bro, who's that?" And I said, "Oh, that's Flower, very famous caster." I said, "Oh, not lawyer." I said, "Not lawyer." I said, "No, not lawyer." I said, "Wow, macam peguam lah, power." But I remember you spoke passionately about, ironically, topics which we're going to discuss today about players' rights.
Yes.
And then I was the other one was Olling. I think Olling also spoke passionately that day. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we are referring to a town hall meeting that Flower and I, together with I think Alan Pang, was the main organizer, one of the main organizers, to organize a town hall meeting back in 2017 to try and decipher and understand what was happening in the esports industry. Right now, today, even though it's a legal aid clinic, it's meant to be my law firm. What we wanted to do was, Flower, was this. We just log on live here, and I was thinking of just continue doing my work, having like my laptop here and then doing my work here, then waiting anybody come on board like a clinic lah, like clinic. Hello,
I
doctor.
see.
Apa khabar, Mr. Richard? Ada soalan, So we
So it's
thought
not
of
like a
doing
24, like a assistant, online assistant, but not exactly 24 hours, but working hours.
correct. So we wanted to do it for like every Monday for half an hour, so that everyone knows that, okay, for half an hour I can go to Twitch TV and ask Richard Wee anything. So it can be Richard Wee, it can be my partner Marlisa or one of my lawyers. We thought of taking
Oh
turns.
wow.
That's what we want to do. In the long term, Flower, that's
Yeah.
what I want to do. It's a free advice.
That's a great initiative. That's a very great initiative.
Thank you. I mean, you know what, Flower, we wanted to do this in Mespa also. Remember, but that was for the players, right?
Yep.
So then I got tired of waiting. I say, yeah, shit, I do myself lah. I do it myself lah.
Actually, there was somebody else who did something like that, but not esports related. It was the previous minister of youth and sports, YB Sitsadi, before this. Before this, he did it on a Wednesday, where I think like I don't know the timing. I never attended that thing. He said that at this time anyone can meet him, like from this time to this time on a Wednesday. But you're
Ask me
applying.
anything.
Yeah, they ask me anything lah. Yeah, physically meet. It's a physical meet, that one. Yeah.
Oh, that's even better. That's even much better.
That's a physical meet, but of course you need to book and all that lah. You need to book and all that lah, because obviously a lot of people want to meet. But so yours is like Monday from this time to this time. So
4 to 4:30. That's the plan. Every Monday. The reason why we choose Monday is because we know on the weekends most esports players are very active. We play games, and then sometimes the finals are on Saturday or Sunday. You watch some of the tournaments. The peak is always the weekend. We notice. I mean, not all the time, I know, but more. So if there's any issues to discuss, Monday will be a good time to discuss.
it's like ASAP lah, the day after. All this
Correct. And truth be told, actually Monday I'm the busiest day for us. But because we got such a big team, we can take turn to manage the legal aid clinic. So I was thinking a bit like bodoh-bodoh lah. You sit down here, sorang-sorang, buat kerja, like that, waiting for someone to come and ask me. What if nobody comes? And then, which I don't mind, but what if nobody dare to ask anything? What if they takut to ask? So we thought, okay, last week we got Cammy, our very first legal aid clinic. So this is clinic number 2. So we got you. We've got Alan Pang on record to come on. Bleak will come back. I will approach Master Raman also, so that you all can pose questions and we can then have a legal discussion.
Okay. Yeah, I think
So,
that's great.
Flower, ask me anything.
Right. I like this AME already. All right. So there's a number of things. Obviously, I want to ask about issues that actually happen currently in the esports scene, right? So
Mm.
let's start with something that's very common that happens for the longest time. All right. Just now you were highlighting what ages. Let's talk a little bit about price pool if it's not being paid. This is like the most highlighted topic for the longest time. Like if a price pool was not being paid as agreed. For example, usually organizers will say within 3 months or 30 working days, you will get paid. If you do not get paid, what should we? What should I do? You know, I'm supposed to get paid like 500 ringgit, 1,000 ringgit, 10,000 ringgit for an event organizer. So if I did not get paid within that time period, what are the steps I should do? Yeah.
Okay, very, very good question. Um, I don't know. Even last week, Kemi asked really good questions. Make me really have to think how to. But uh, first, Flava, I think the first when it comes to non-payment of rewards, or the game winnings, we must first understand that that is a contractual issue. A quick tuition on law. There are many kinds of law within the general aspects of law. We have constitutional law, criminal law, this is sports law, blah blah blah. So this one is a contractual law, and under contract, the first thing parties need to do is to have a contract. And of course, contract, everyone has assumed the contract must be in writing. You know, that it must be in a piece of paper. But that is not necessarily accurate. Even when you go to a convenience store and buy an ice cream and pay, that is a contract that they offer to sell an ice cream to you for 2 ringgit, and you agree to buy and pay 2 ringgit and go. So there's a contract there. So that is called contract by conduct. But of course, usually when you go to court and try to enforce a contract by conduct, it's a bit more challenging because
Mhm,
the judges need evidence, you know.
mhm,
So so don't confuse between your right and the existence of a contract as
mhm,
opposed to the requirement for evidence of a contract, two different things. Now, to
mhm,
address, now that we have that, so you understand now that lebih kurang what is the background of a contract. And again, I repeat this, Flava. I think this question, a contract, will be asked every week. And I have no problems repeating this every week. My only worry is those who come on the Twitch TV after a while get fed up, listen to the same thing. But there's always someone new who's asking new things. So don't worry. Ask me the same question every week, no problem.
mhm,
Now, to address your question now, Flower, when a person is not paid their rewards and their prize winning, you have to look at the written contract about the prescribed method of payment.
mhm,
Every contract for esports, they will say, if you win, we give you this, we give you this. So now, did the contract address, is there a prescribed manner when it will be paid to you? Now, my observation, Flower, is that a lot of these contracts doesn't say. It just
mhm.
say if you win, I give you 1,000 ringgit, but it doesn't say when. You
Mhm.
know, so that's
So
one of the problems. Yeah.
So does that mean like if the contract does not mention when, it could be at any point? You know, it's like a open-ended contract where we didn't tell you we're gonna pay you ASAP, but yeah,
Yeah, but
you will get the money, but no, you can't say that we need to pay you within a certain time. Oh,
correct.
okay, all right, all
But
right.
to be fair to the both parties, the law, there are many case laws in court which has held a decision that if the timeline is not prescribed, then the court expect the parties to pay within a reasonable period of time. Then of course your next question to me, Flower, should be what the hell does reasonable mean? Now,
Yes.
reasonableness, of course, differs from case to case, but it is safe to conclude, and you can quote me if you want. You can say itu lawyer, itu lawyer Twitch sana cakap sama itu, you can say that no, it is reasonable to expect if you win a tournament that you should be getting your money within say 7 to 14 days. Some may take up to 28 days, but that's still okay. But anything more than 2 months, Flower, I think that's out of order lah, to me, right? I mean, if you go to Olympics and you win a 100-meter race, they don't tell you, oh, itu gold medal, you come back in 2 months, I give it to you. Mana
Mhm.
ada, right, Flower? So Therefore, it is. I can tell everybody, if your contract is silent on when the prize money is to be disbursed to you, then the law requires that the party act reasonably. So usually anything between 7 days to 28 days is a reasonable time for them to pay. And if they don't pay, that's where you can take action. And you can even say that I have given you enough time. I'm being fair to you. So
Mm-hmm.
now, then this comes the bigger picture, Flava. This is the problem. You heard me advocating this issue since you met me. That
Mm-hmm.
the esports community have very poor contracts.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Okay.
problem is when lawyers like me, when we talk like that, people say I try to jual ubat. I'm trying to,
Sure.
sell legal services. Come to me. No, but really, you guys need to. Okay, when I say you, we're talking esports community and people on streaming. You need to really have a lawyer to go through your contract. There's a lot of lawyers out there. They can advise you. Maybe you pay a little bit of money for one time and then it will resolve for a long, long time. You know,
Mm-hmm.
don't rely everything on Google. The Google, they always quote American laws, which some of them doesn't apply, you know.
Yes, very
And
true.
Google, and it's Google, Google is not the answer. Google is an indication. When you touch on, they
Yes.
indicate to you what is the possibilities. So,
Mm-hmm.
actually the real solution to that is, Flava, is to get someone who's experienced enough. May not be a lawyer, someone who's maybe very experienced, like you, Flava, very experienced in areas. You will know how to write in, to add in a clause to cater for that situation.
But usually, because the tournament, we are not the organizer. Let's say, for example, I'm a participant in this tournament, and the tournament has really highlighted. Usually, what they will do is that the most basic organizer would set up a Google form where you will put in your details, and before that, there will be like terms and conditions, and all that. I mean, who are we as participants? Are we allowed to tell them, hey, you need to add this into your
Yeah.
into Euros and because I believe that if we're the participant and you're the organizer, if we agree to your terms, basically we fill up the form and submit, and then enter the competition.
Yeah, again, very, very pertinent, practical problem. Now,
Mhm,
that this area of contract law, Flower, is called the standard form contract law.
mhm,
Standard form contract law is where the judges have to deal with standard forms. Classic one, if you go to the bank, when you
mhm,
apply for bank loan, they just give you one form. Shut up and take it, right? And sometimes they add in all kinds of funny clauses, and you have no choice but to accept it. Now, let
mhm.
me just share with you slightly. Let me divert for a short while and come back to this issue where you're forced to sign a standard contract. What can you do? Now, actually, you can still negotiate. You can still try to negotiate the party. But recently in 2016, 2017, one couple, they were forced to sign a contract for the bank. And the bank, long story short, did a blunder which caused the client, not my client, the client, to suffer losses. So they sued the bank. Then the bank actually relied on a clause in the contract to say, you can't sue me. That's what the clause said. And it went all the way to the federal court, which is the highest court in Malaysia. And guess what? The judges told the bank, you are wrong.
Mhm,
Even though you give a standard form to the person to sign, and the person signed willingly, but the clause is an unfair clause.
I
So the
see.
federal court, yeah. So to share with you, Flower, there are court cases, despite the other party is a huge bank, the court will say, no, you are acting unfairly, and it can be struck off when it's unreasonable. So
I
that's why
see.
this is to empower everyone here. People who sign contract, you have a right to demand.
Mhm,
But Flower, truth be told, in the reality also, you also have to see bargaining power. So, like in the case of the couple that I told you, the poor couple were forced to sign the agreement, and they had to suffer paying lawyers to fight their case for many years before they won, right?
mhm,
Because the bargaining power is weak. And that's why Flower, organizations like MESPA is important.
mhm,
MESPA together will help all the players when they negotiate terms. It will strengthen the bargaining power. So that is one of the weaknesses when you give a standard form contract, the lack of bargaining power. But
mhm.
like I said just now, you can still negotiate. You could try to persuade the other parties, please add in this clause and that. And of course, there's always one solution. If you really cannot agree, then walk away, don't sign. But Flava people tell me, but Mr. Richard, I need to cari makan. I need to do it. So then, therefore, back to the same scenario. It's a one cycle. Then you have no choice, lah. You just have to accept that clause. That's what they want. Bargaining power. So these are things that now you can see why Flava I fight so hard for organizations like MESPA. I even told you that I want to do an organization to protect marshals, to protect talents like you. You are a talent, you are a caster. Clearly, someone like you need help to protect talents like you. So if you come together as a group, your bargaining power becomes stronger. Then
That's
you
correct.
can negotiate better. Yeah.
Now to add on this, right? Realistically, if I was a normal person, right, a normal gamer where at the tournament, right, if an organizer, because we're back to the same topic on organizers not paying. Now, the first thing that will happen, very few things that could happen when this thing occurs is that number one, the most common thing is people will rage on social media, right? People will post that they are displeased with this organizer. They will say bad things that this organizer is, for example, this organizer is shitty. This organizer lied to us. This organizer has not been honest. The organizer sometimes didn't respond to DMs and all that. Hence, they will start posting screenshots. They will start saying bad. You know when you're angry and then you start to say every bad word, every bad word in the dictionary, whether it's in English or in Malay. All right. So there's a few questions in my mind, like for example, like sorry. But of course, there are some people who will go through the normal channel of reporting to police, or do make a police report, balai police, and all that. All right. So a few things that's issue with this is, which I'm concerned about, is some of these organizers. There were occasions where the organizers attack back the people who do the social media postings and say that, oh, you are defaming me. This is a term, a law term, right? Defaming
It
me.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, defaming me. I'm gonna sue you back, even though I didn't pay you, but you are defaming me. You're making me look bad on social media, and I'm gonna take action on you. All right.
Mm.
So my question is that, to what extent can an individual or a gamer post bad stuff about you, if you did post stuff about these organizers, and not get in trouble? For example, are we allowed to post screenshots, personal screenshots of what we say and what they say? What is the right way to do it? Basically, this is like the normal thing, but I want to make sure that people are educated to what extent can they do certain things on social media.
Okay, fantastic topic. Really, really good. And yeah, sorry, my colleague sending me some water. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah,
So nice.
thank you. Yeah, I ran out of water. I still have a water in my room. Of all the time, they ran out of water. So I had to send SOS. Tolong hantar air, bos dahaga. Okay. Thank you very much to my team for sending me over water. Now, really, really practical problem. Okay. Number one, when a contract is breached, that means the other party has either not paid you or bluffed you or cheated you, etc., etc. The immediate reaction is anger and frustration. That is the
Yes.
usual anger, the usual feelings. Now, it is very dangerous at that time for you to go on record, either on any social media, to place on record your feeling. It is on record, right? When a lawyer says place on record, means you are putting things in writing, in what you say, screenshots, uploading screenshots, and as we know, internet is forever. So like this, for example, our Twitch TV, it will forever be on this internet or after this. So I would caution everybody to be very, very careful when you do that. Having said that, I didn't say you cannot do it. I didn't say that, right? It is your social media page. You have every right to put whatever you want to put, but subject to laws and regulations. For example, we don't put horrible pedophile pictures. That's against the law. And it beats me why anybody want to put pedophiles pictures. They're crazy. But that is clear example. Freedom, but not really freedom. Right? Now, uh, my proposal is this: when a contract is breached, the first thing you do is to put into writing and send to that fella, either on WhatsApp or Telegram or email, and state your ground why it's a breach. Now, if that person still don't reply or reply in a bad way, you should still communicate through that. Now, when you want to escalate, I use the word escalate. That means you know that it's getting
To the next level.
nowhere. Yeah, you want to take it to the next level. You know the current communication is going on, but tak pergi mana-mana lah. Flower tak pergi mana-mana kan. So you want to escalate to your social media. Then you must state facts. Like, for example, I engaged Flava to be my caster, and Richard V is an idiot, never pay Flava. So Flava sent me an email. Richard, when are you paying me? I say, coming soon. Hold on. 2 weeks later, Richard, my email 2 weeks ago, when are you paying me? I kept quiet. Then I disappear for 1-2 weeks. You get angry. So you put up on the social media. Said, you don't put like, F you, Richard, I hope you die. This is good. Don't put like that. You just put that. This is how I would recommend you to put. Recently, I did an event for a company. I will not mention the company yet. I am greatly disappointed that after 3 weeks, I have not been paid despite my numerous emails to the company. I am so disappointed. Just put it up if you really want to put up. But you leave the name of the company out first for now. Say that. Then you can even put that in due time, if this company still don't pay me, I may want to disclose the name of the person. Because that's your right. Right? Now, when you say something like that, that is not defamatory at all. Because you are stating facts.
Okay.
Defamatory is like this, where you put down, Richard is the one who didn't pay me. He must be pokai. And he must be some idiot, what they call this, wannabe lawyer pretending to be esports. That is defamatory.
I see. So basically, if it's not factual, so it falls under basically making fun of another, basically making the other person look bad, not true facts.
Yeah. So for example, like say it is more accurate when you write it in proper English, or proper Bahasa Malaysia, or even if you want to write in the language of your spoken style, like in Malay. Aku dah fed up lah dengan di syarikat ni. Dah 3 minggu aku kerja sampai sekarang tak bayar-bayar lagi. That's okay. Because you're telling a fact. I haven't paid you in 3 weeks.
Okay,
right?
okay.
Now,
I get it.
You see the difference?
Okay, I did like the part where you mentioned like try not to mention the name of the organization / company first.
Not yet.
How about the name of the person also not mentioned at the start?
Preferably don't lah. Preferably
Okay,
don't.
all right.
Not
So
yet.
based on that, is there like a certain part of time where I can, since you said that, okay, I've already posted without the company name and with the name, is there a period of time where I can post the name? For example, before this, I tak cakap Richard, I letak nama dia Encik Rashid, bukan nama sebenar. Get it? A lot of people do that. Because in our esports community, there is this trend where a lot of people were highlighting this one particular individual, but he doesn't mention his name, but he tried his level best to just flip one word around. Like for example, Kadil, and then left hand. I don't know. People will try their level best to, like,
take Richard and turn it upside down. Yeah.
No, because the person is not trying his level best to hide it, but he wants to make sure people know who it is. But they make sure rather than saying Richard, nama dia Rashid. So something like that, Just
to answer a question, there is no law to say when you can and cannot give the name. Number two, I must say, Flava, even at the very first posting on your social media, if you terus nak sebut nama, so there is no law to say you don't have to. I am just here, again, we must differentiate between your right and the impact of what you do. See, of course, you have a right to raise a comment. And nowadays, with the advent of social media, you can now say it in social media. If this happened 40 years ago, then a social media is newspaper. You write to a newspaper, isn't it? Those days.
Yes.
You can imagine 30 years ago, 20 years ago, before we had Facebook. Because Facebook only started in 2006, 2007. Before that, you think about it, how do we complain? How did our parents complain, isn't it? So, and I'm one of those generation who grew up before digital and now digital. So I'm both analog and digital, right? But those days, you can complain on the newspaper that so and so didn't pay and all that. even then, that can be already borderline defamatory. Because when you say someone didn't pay, you are implying that the person got no money. You're implying that the person pokai. That's what you imply. And even by implying that, that can be defamation.
Oh,
You
really?
see, yeah, you
No,
see, Flava, you
no,
must understand, right?
oh, okay.
The law of defamation, you must understand the reason and purpose behind the law of defamation. It is meant to stop people from, in simple English, bitching about people. The law want to stop people from going around saying nasty and negative things. That is what we want to avoid. Because imagine if the law of defamation is not there, imagine totally not there, die. Everybody will be attacking on. And can you imagine a society where every day in the newspaper 100 years ago or 50 years ago, and now every day on new social media, someone is bitching about somebody else, and the law say, yeah, nothing wrong. There's defamation. What law is that? Never heard before. So imagine if that we don't have defamation laws. So that's why it becomes very toxic to run a country when everybody is attacking each other. So that's why we have the law of defamation. The purpose of it. The purpose of it. The problem
Okay.
is when you come to technicality. This is where you asking me now, Flava, the technicalities of defamation. So
Mhm.
that's why I'm advising everybody to avoid the technicality of defamation. Maybe it's best when you do comment, don't mention name. Because the
Mhm.
moment you mention a name, dah mungkin ada, can get into challenges
Trouble.
lah.
Mhm.
Can get into trouble, yeah. So, but I defend by saying that what you say is a fact.
I see. Okay.
So if you remember Flower, I think few years ago there was a tournament. I don't want to mention the name here. see how I do it. I don't mention the name here. Some tournament in university, big hoo-ha. Then the person didn't pay. Somebody lodged a police report. Then someone asked me the same question you asked. I said, look, if you're just stating facts, it's okay. But don't go and attack the person. You teruk lah, you tak bayar lah, apalah,
Don't go overboard,
So,
you know. Don't.
don't go overboard. Yeah. So I can tell you the way even we lawyers, we write a letter. Let's say we write a letter demand. So let's say I'm representing Flava, and this Flava guy, poor fella, this company called Richard V. Chambers never pay you money, for example. So this is how I write. Dear Richard V. Chambers, we act for Flava. On this date and this time, you had engaged Flava to become a caster and for the payment of X amount of ringgit. Our client instruct that over the last 48 weeks or 48 days, 48 days, he has yet to receive payment. Then we put out like that. So even the way we write, so imagine writing down in your social media, you put lah, saya memang kecewa sampai sekarang tak bayar lagi. Saya harap ini tak berlaku. You look good also, and you look like a victim. So and then such a comment will also attract attention. Because why do you do it, Flower? You put it up on social media to attract attention, to get the crowd on your side, to pressure the other side to pay. Correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's good. That's good to know. Let's
So number
try.
one, go on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Do continue. Number one.
No, I was going to say, to summarize, number one, state down factually. Two, try to avoid mentioning the other person's name. And even if you mention, okay, but don't make it sound like lebih-lebih lah, like what you and I, the word we use, lebih-lebih. Then at the same time, don't repeatedly put up every day. That becomes harassment really. Yes.
I see. Okay.
Just because that person owe you money doesn't give you a right to everyday harass that fella. There is a balance. A wrongdoing by one person doesn't allow you to do wrongdoing on that person.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
I don't know how to explain.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, but I think that's very practical because some people like they already attacked the person today, although it's not defamation. But tomorrow, if you do it again, you do it the next day again. You do next day until for the whole MCO period, you do it. Yeah, until non-stop. I think that's considered harassment already, lah.
Yeah, it become harassment already. So the other person can actually lodge a police report against you. Now, to answer your question also just now, Flower, you mentioned about people lodging police report. Nothing wrong with that. If company X don't pay you after a certain amount of days and the person promise you, you can always lodge a police report. But 99% the police will not do anything lah, because it's a civil matter, it's not a criminal matter.
Oh really? Then that was the point if I lodge a police report. No, because it's logical as a rakyat, like like most logical is that I should lodge a police report. Hopefully the police will do something about it.
Yeah,
But what you're telling me is that because this is not a criminal matter but a
yeah.
civil matter.
The police
Yeah,
won't
that's
do anything. Yeah, but that's why I said 99%. If you lodge a police report and you can show evidence of some fraud, some kind of penipuan, some cheat, something wrong lah, Flava, right? Then that's different. Then suddenly now maybe the police may step in and do something because now there's a criminal element. So if you lodge a police report and just say dia tak bayar aku, that's it. That's a civil matter.
Mhm.
Tapi kalau ada the report tu mention things like hey hempeng all chin hey ngak ngola, Cantonese means you never pay me, you bluff me, hey ngak ngola, hey penipu lah, hey conman then you put that, I mean, for those Chinese fellas yeah, then yeah, you that's okay. The police may say, oh, there's an element of con. Maybe the police may investigate, you know. But generally, I can tell you the police, they won't get involved. There are some cases I know the police, out of goodwill, they will call the other side and say, kenapa tak bayar, There are cases like that.
Yes, 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 yes.
But generally, the police can actually tell you, I'm sorry, this is a civil matter. I'm not going to get involved. The police can say that.
Okay, I
Mm.
understand. All right. Okay. Now to my next inquiry, right? I'm trying to be as practical as possible. Now, uh, it's very hard to run away from this, but toxicity exists. May it be in social medias or even in game. There's like this other persona of another person where if they're in game, they're safe. Like in game, because I'm not in real life, but I mean in game it's the same actually. It's still social media, and in game it's considered another social media platform, but within a game. So let's say, for example, if we were to find an individual in the game and you know who the person is, he is uh, for example, he's a Malaysian. Okay, let's try to apply Malaysia because we live in Malaysia. If this person is from KL and I'm from Kelantan, and this KL person in-game type there, your mother cibai, your all this bad stuff. I'm trying. How do I control myself from saying all this? I'm trying to think. How do they say this? Like your mother green, your dad, your. Okay, no, this is very. I'll be honest. This is
Your
very.
mother flower crab.
Your mother prostitute. All this, all this bad stuff, and I feel that it's offensive. But I'm not sure whether this can be brought to law. Up to a point where it hurts when people talk about your parents and all this, and these things happen. Can this kind of toxicity in game be brought into in real life, and can action be taken upon these people?
Yeah, very, very practical problem again, Flower. That's why I enjoy doing these legal aid talks, because the questions posed to us are always very practical. So just a few weeks ago, Bleed and I hosted a topic like this called the toxicity in the streaming world. And he asked the same question you asked. Like I said again, I really want this question to be posed over and over again. It must be discussed many, many times so people will eventually stop. Now, let's look at toxicity from two angles. One is the legal angle, what you can and cannot do, and what the other one is the social angle on pressure, what you can use to pressure to stop. Now, legally speaking, there are many ways for us to lodge a complaint to stop. So, one classic one is here on Twitch. If you see someone saying something stupid here, we can complain to Twitch. But it'll take time, because Twitch will take time to investigate and eventually block the fella. That's one. So Twitch, Facebook, even Twitter, they have their internal community complaint. Yeah, Bleed is here. Hi, Bleed. So Bleed was also asking this question last time. Yeah. Then the other one, Flava, is to lodge. This one can lodge a police report. The other one, Flava, is to lodge. Okay, can heard by what? So we can lodge a police report, Flava, and this is where the police may take action, because clearly you show harassment, some sort of attack, blah blah blah. So there will be there may be consequences where the police may come in. The third one is MCMC, because this is a multimedia you're using on the internet, so you can go to the multimedia corporation in Cyberjaya. That is the policeman of the internet, and they
Ah,
have provisions where they can come in and shut you down and lock you down and even arrest you for saying something stupid on the internet. The only problem with all the legal part, Flower, is that it takes time for it to kick in. And by then, the idiot who say, your mother, whatever, have already moved on and, attack somebody else, right? So that is the fact. I'm going to concede that for issues of harassment on sexual harassment, toxicity on places like Twitch, places like Facebook Live, it takes time. Now, again, to revisit this, Flower, about 6 months ago, Michelle from Google and not Michelle from Agree, not that this is another Michelle from Google, and Oling, together with a lawyer, my friend Firdaus, who's a human rights lawyer, we spoke about this sexual harassment on Twitch, and it's very bad. They asked, what can we do? So I remember my friend Firdaus mentioned what I just said. These are the legal part that you can complain. In fact, you can even complain even to Suhakam, which is the Human Rights Commission. They can actually investigate the matter for you. But I think actually the real solution is the community itself, Flower. Is that so? This is not. In fact, I think the solution is outside law. I think this is where the community needs to step in and form an action group, a coalition all over the world, all over the community within, for example, Malaysia. And this coalition will go out and say, you shut up, stop saying this, stop taking it. We need something like that for now until the platform matures. So, for example, like Flower, you never see someone say your mother, whatever, on newspaper.
of course not. Yeah.
Well, but it was like that. 100 over years ago, people did write like that.
Oh,
So yeah, people don't say mother lah, but people do say nasty things in the newspaper last time. But the
wow.
law has evolved. Yeah, the law has evolved and say you can't do this. You can't say this, So that part of the law hasn't come into social media yet. Or it is coming in, but it's slow. And because social media is so fast, the law cannot handle it. So unfortunately, I won't be able to give you a good, strong legal solution. Instead, I can tell you that this is what the law you can do. Unfortunately, it takes time, but I would propose the community like MESPA, leaders like you, Flower, you, Raman, take the lead and tell people enough, and explain to them the consequences. Because when you continue to harass people, the other fella, the victim, goes through a severe mental depression, and it is a very slippery slope down, and it can cause some dangerous consequences. So that
Mhm.
is how I think you must highlight.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. All right. Now, another issue, lah. I think this is an issue that happens on a daily basis. Okay, on a daily basis, it's an issue where people get scammed on their IDs. So their in-game IDs. So, Mr. Richard, if you're not familiar, some people what they do is that they would pass their ID details, for example, their email and password, or some form of ID name and password to another person so that they can assist in boosting their ID, like make it better because that person is a professional player or something, and then increase the rank and all this. But of course, there's multiple reasons lah. Some of them they wanna pinjam ID lah, pinjam skin, whatever. But after a week, let's say for example, I wanna borrow your ID, Mr. Richard, for a week, and then after a week, I go MIA. I don't return back your ID. I steal it, and so yeah. So I would like to know like if that is punishable by law for stealing an in-game, because this is an in-game ID. I'm not stealing your Facebook. I don't know whether that falls under the same thing or not.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is the first time I'm hearing this problem. So
Mm.
I will now address it based on, see, other for us lawyers, when we are dealt with a brand new scenario, just like how when Brian Boo, who's I think still here, Brian Boo and I took on esports in 2017.
Mm.
We had this problem. how to deal with this so many new issues.
Yeah.
So then we have to go through basics of law. We go back to the basics. So what you said just now is that I have an ID and I share with someone, can or cannot. The question, the funny thing, Flava, the test is this: is the ID an asset? Because if it's an asset and I give it to you and you misuse it, then it's a crime. So classic asset is I give you a handphone. So I loan you my handphone and you misuse it, then I can do something about it. I can lodge a police report. Yeah.
Okay.
But let's say the ID is not seen to be an asset. It is just uh, an existing thing, right? Then the police will say itu ID saja, you know. So why you go and loan it to your friend is your personal problem, nothing to do with the law. So at the moment, the ID of the esports player, I don't know where it stands. I don't know
Okay,
whether it's a
basically, it's like your, for example, let's use Facebook as reference, like your Facebook login and your password, something like that. Yeah, but this one is for a game, so you have your
good.
login name and
No.
password.
So must differentiate, Flower. Me giving or someone stealing my password to go in, that may not be a matter that I can complain, because I don't think there's a law to charge someone for stealing the password. But what I do with the password, that I can get into trouble. So let's say, Flower, I steal your password and I pretend to be Flower on Twitch and I go and disturb some girls, you know. 'Cause I know you are a gentleman, you don't disturb girls, but never mind. So I go and disturb some girls, and then they say, "Why this Flower very hamsap lah, terrible lah." And then I go and send some nude photograph, you know, say, "Hey, come on, darling, let's meet up tonight." So they thought it was you. Then you know, the girl lodge a report against you. Then you show proof, say, "Bloody hell, I got stolen. Someone stole," and the evidence point to Richard V. Then I can be charged for impersonation. There's a law against that.
Okay.
So the ID part, when someone steal your ID, the one possibility is the law of impersonation. That is
Okay.
possible. So I'm impersonating you. It's fake. It is fraud. It is con. It is impersonation. That one is possible. So it's a criminal matter. But if you're talking about purely about the brand, sorry, your login and your name and your password, whether that is an asset that can be that people can simply take, and you want to sue someone for doing this, that is a still a test question. But the act
Mm.
of pretending to be you, the act of using your name and saying stupid things, making you look bad, I can get charged.
I think that one under impersonation, that case usually doesn't happen much. But usually, generally, what people do is that because, for example, your ID has some items like skins, has some really high levels and all that. So basically, the person steals it and they use it for their own, you know. So I think it already falls under an act of stealing because initially people know that you're just using it. Basically, there must have been a reason why this individual gave this other individual's login details and password and all this because he or she must have been assigned to actually do something with the ID for a period of time and then return it back. But if the person doesn't return, doesn't that fall under stealing because you're not returning
It
it
is.
back?
It is.
Yeah.
So that part is different. See, so that one is not whether or not the person misused the brand, I mean the login name, but not returning it to you. It's possible because, like you said, when you log in, there are assets at the back, the skins, you know. So there's a benefit by me, holding on to your login. So that is possible. I agree. It's possible to argue that there's a theft. Hopefully,
Mhm.
the police will understand lah. Imagine you go and lodge a police report in the police will, huh? Skin? Apa? Kulit? They
I
may
think
not understand.
I think this happened a lot to Mobile Legend players. Like, I think particularly
Oh,
this game title, Mobile Legends, there are a few issues with players who play games like Free Fire, PUBG Mobile, and all this because there's always people out there who uh, attain these IDs with either illegally or illegally, with consent or without consent. So, and it's a big issue because the game publishers, for example, for Mobile Legends is Muntun. For PUBG Mobile, it's Tencent Games. So sometimes in their inbox, they will receive all this. Oh, somebody hacked my account and I cannot attend it. And I know who stole it because they give like their copy of IC, this person. So what should I do?
Mm.
You know? Yeah, there's always that. There's always
It
that.
is a this is a very interesting issue, lah, Flower. You know what? Because of you raising this, thank you so much. I'm going to get. In fact, some of my colleagues are watching here. One of them is my intern named Mark. I hope
Mm,
Mark is listening in. I think I'm going to do some research on this area and maybe write an article about this.
mhm.
Good point. I'll talk to Brian also later. Our guardian angel 07. Maybe he has some ideas on how to find a solution. Yeah. Let the lawyers come in and help you all see what we can do. Hmm?
Okay, yeah. Okay,
Very good
okay.
point.
No, no.
Thank you
Now
for that.
I understood why Brian Wu used the name Guardian Angel. I get it. I get it. Now I get it. It's like a lawyer. So you're like a guardian angel to individuals. So hence,
Exactly. Yeah.
now I get it. Because I was thinking of her. Sorry, I was thinking of Brian like in angel dress, and then I was like, no, what did you do? So I was thinking something else. Like, why would Brian want to become a girl, like wearing a dress, like an angel? So, oh, that's guardian
He's
angel.
a guardian angel. Yeah. I think I'm
Okay,
going to call myself Richard the Shield We. Like, no, I'm the Shield.
something like
Yeah.
that. Can. All right. Hey, very interesting. Very interesting talk. I have like probably like one more from my end that I
Go
just
ahead.
want.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know that this was addressed even before together with Cami. Now I want to talk a little bit about player contract, but
Mm.
I think you've already highlighted in general the importance of
Go
it.
on. Ask again. Ask again. Ask again.
Normally a lot of people will PM me, hey Flavor, do you have like a rough draft of a player contract that we can actually use and all this? And in most occasions, I do not. I actually have one, but I cannot provide it for them because actually this one I attain it legally through legal means. Like I paid a lawyer and it's for my use, and you cannot just get it for free, because it belongs to the company and all that because they paid.
Mm.
Yeah, so player contract is a huge issue because recently is actually the lot of the slots for some professional leagues. We have the PUBG Mobile Professional League as well as the Mobile Legends Professional League, which will happen very, very soon. So
Mm.
because of this, there were a lot of incidents where players were cheated by. I mean, the way that they say it is that they were cheated by their organizations, where in areas where they are supposed to be paid, they were not paid. Um, because there's no particular clause on that matter. Because recently I keep advising players, if you see a one-page contract, it's not a contract. Okay, because there's a lot of, when was the last time you saw a one-page contract that comprises of everything for an athlete?
Yeah. I mean, technically, I must correct you there, Flam. It is still a contract, but it
Yeah.
may not have all the terms that is there. So then there's
Yes.
certain situation where you're like, oh yeah, the contract doesn't say that. So it's there's a blank space there, but it's still a contract, but not complete. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an incomplete contract. So basically, obviously, these individuals, and usually these people who get affected by these stuff are young athletes, young esports athletes. Some of them are like just finished SPM, like 17 years old, 18 years old. Some of them are 26, 27 years old, so still get cheated because their contract's incomplete, um, and all this. So yeah, so I don't know who to refer them to when it comes to all this, because at the end of the day, we will still refer back to the contract that you signed with. And every time people, when they consult other people, they will always say that's your fault. The same thing that's being advised to them is that it is your fault for not making sure your contract is complete and all this.
Yeah.
Like you should have read your contract. You should have spent a little bit of time thinking about this contract and all this.
Yeah, yeah. Well, again, lah, Flower, I think you are raising a systemic and community problem. This has been going on way before I became an esports lawyer, right? Now, when a player is entering into a contract, I give you the ideal scenario, the perfect where everything, the sun is shining, the birds is chirping, everything's happy. Yeah. So in the perfect scenario, a player when they go and meet the team to sign a contract to take part in the tournament, that player should have with him or her a lawyer.
Mhm.
That is the ideal scenario, and that lawyer will count him everything in the contract. right? Even a basic general lawyer who doesn't know esports will be able to advise you on contract law. Of course, if you have lawyers who know esports, then they can see the nitty gritty of the contract and get it right for you. For example, how many hours must you log in to train? You know, only esports lawyer will understand. What
Yes.
about the rights to your skin? When you play, you have a skin. You want to maintain that skin because it's your skin. So, but the team wants to jump on that. So, if I talk to a non esports lawyer, I mention skin, they think I'm talking about chicken skin from KFC. They won't understand, right? So, but generally, a lawyer, when you give them a contract, they orang tahu buat. So that's the ideal one. And once you have the lawyer, all this is soft because the lawyer will be able to protect you all the way. Of course, the big problem is how to pay the lawyer, where to find the lawyer. And I think one of the biggest issues has always been payment. There's a perception that lawyers are expensive. Now, truth be
Yes.
told, Flava, there are some lawyers who really are charging premium prices. That's because their lawyer is really, really good. But there are also lawyers out there who are premium lawyers who don't mind helping out the community. They don't mind giving some affordable contracts and even do things at the almost like pro bono just to help. Go and ask lah. And Flower, since you are you still in the Esports Federation, the
Yes.
former
Yes.
ESN?
Yes.
You talk to Dato. Dato, I know is very our Dato president. He's really supporting the rights of the players. I know he's like that. Talk to him. Maybe he can create like a group of lawyers who can become like what we are doing now, like a legal aid lawyers who can help. I'm sure that's one practical solution. But come to legal matters. Back to legal matters. When a player is given a contract, you should have a lawyer. If you don't have a lawyer, then this is what you must do. Okay, in your mind, you must address four things. Four things. Number one, did the contract address the name of the party correctly?
Okay.
Sometimes, you forget about this. You go there, you join team RWC. But the contract put there, kamu Flava, you Flava, and not entering into contract with a syarikat Bernas Bumi. So who the hell is Bernas Bumi? You see? So you must find out first, who are you entering a contract with? That's the first one. Parties to the contract. Number two, payment. And we discussed this earlier, Flava. Just only half an hour. Don't forget about not just about payment, mode of payment. When you pay, how to pay,
What?
everything about
Yeah.
payment.
What
Yeah,
happens when you delay payment?
correct. Think.
Yeah.
So put yourself there. When you do, don't just sign blindly. If you don't want a lawyer, no problem. You can DIY. If you DIY, I repeat. First question: check the identity of the parties. Make sure the parties are the correct parties, or else the contract is void. It's a wrong contract. You understand? Yeah. So it's a
Yes.
simple thing, but it's imperative. Second thing is a payment. Very important. So when it comes to payment, you got to break down how to pay, when to pay, what if you don't pay. Now, the third one, this is peculiar to players contract, peculiar. Because this clause I'm going to say doesn't apply to, for example, contract to buy houses. It doesn't apply, okay? So peculiar to players, you want to know your KPI. So when I do sports contract, Flower, I always need to look at the KPI, the key performance index of the player. So because when it comes to players contract, Flower, the moment the player performance drop, the team can deselect you. The
Yes.
team
Yes.
can drop you. So you will want to defend your quality. Just because you won a tournament last year, it doesn't mean you're great this year. So the normally the team will insist you must play at a certain level at a certain so you need to negotiate. Because we all know, Flower, not all players can be on top all the time. There's sometimes some downturn where you take you switch off for a while, you're tired, you want to rest. So that's the third one, the peculiar to players. The fourth one is many of us ignore this, is actually the termination clause.
Yes. Determination.
You must read your termination clause carefully, whether you can terminate, whether they can terminate. how they terminate, when they terminate, and the consequences of termination. So
Yes.
whenever we do contract, we advise the client, please look at this. For this is free legal advice. Number one, I repeat, cari nama dalam kontrak tu betul ke tak betul.
Mm-hmm.
Pastikan identiti dalam kontrak itu orang yang betul.
Mm-hmm.
Kedua, carikan isu pembayaran. Tengok bayaran gaji tu, bayaran duit pemenang tu, the players winning, how is it paid to you? When is it paid to you? And Flava, you asked a very good question just now. Price money not paid, how? Okay. The third one, peculiar to contract, only a player, your KPI. Is it reasonable what the team wants you to do? And the
Yes.
last one is a termination clause. Whether they want to terminate can or cannot, how
Mhm.
they terminate.
And
Blah,
what
blah,
happens
blah.
if you terminate them?
Yes. And this
I,
one, Flower, is actually logic and common sense. You don't really need a lawyer. So if you want to save money, this is what you do lah.
I think these ones are things that if even as an individual you make mistakes. It's after you have a contract and all this, but there are certain times where you kind of just forgot that, oh yeah, oh, what will happen if I, because there were a few incidences where people wanted to terminate the contract, and then they didn't realize that, oh, if I need to you terminate the contract, you have to pay 10,000
Compensation.
compensation. So, oh, so okay. Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes and all this, like
Yeah. Yeah.
compensation and all this. Like, I didn't know, but of course, it's your fault for not reading. Like, if you did sign
Correct.
that, you agree to that. Basically, you have to.
Yeah. The defense of I didn't know is not a defense, unfortunately. So that's why, Flower, I know what I say sounds like kita lawyer jual ubat, but
Mm,
really, the ideal situation in any contract for a player, or even contract for caster, contract for tournament organizer and venue, both parties should have a lawyer. The lawyer will sort out for you. You see, like, you remember 2 years ago, Flower, or was it 3 years ago? The one that Air Asia Sanyan went to do the tournament in Jakarta.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, then there was a some issue. Air Asia Sanyan withdraw, don't want to take part, right?
Yes,
I think the team from Manila and Jakarta or something move on. That case was a classic case of two differing contract in one tournament. So I have no idea what the tournament organizer was doing. I'm not going to say bad things about the tournament organizer because I don't know. But what I know as a fact is how come there are two different clauses in two different contracts in one
yes.
tournament? You know?
It
So
was
that,
actually an Indonesian team, lah. Yeah, Indonesian team.
yeah,
Team
Indonesian team,
Aero,
right?
Team Aerowolf versus Team Air Asia Cyan. Yeah,
Yeah.
3 years ago, three to
I
four
think
years ago.
our buddies Mervin was involved in that. Mervin and of course Alan Pang lah. Alan was always involved in Asia at the time. That was a classic one. How the contract? I don't know whether they had lawyers there. If they had, they should sack the lawyer.
I,
How can the lawyer?
I never knew such a thing could happen. But for
Yeah,
those who don't know about what happened, was it was actually two teams that actually signed a different contract on how the points will be calculated for the team to actually proceed forward to the semifinals or the next round. Yeah, it was horrible because the
yeah.
Malaysian team thought they won, so they went back and sleep. And the organizer woke them up in the middle of the night and said, "Hey, bro, we need to talk."
I
Actually,
remember that. Yeah,
oh, it was so horrible. It was but
yeah,
of course, a lot of people were still talking about that because the way it was handled. The Malaysian players decided to withdraw rather than continue on with the match because they felt it
yeah.
was unfair and all this. There were some
We were
people, there were some people who were questioning why should you withdraw? You should just continue on despite this and all. But of course, we need to understand the players' mental state during that time where, lack of rest, plus it's a competition, it's mentally and physically draining. Yeah, that was a very interesting case of two different contracts. And I believe,
yeah. You see.
Richard, you've been a sports lawyer for quite some time already in your life, and one of the best, I would say, here in the country. I'm not sure whether you've encountered such a case where different athletes got different contracts
No,
before.
yeah, that's why tak ada. In Malaysia tak ada. So not yet lah. In fact, that Asia case, Flower, I can share with you that I was approached, and I think Brian and I and my team at the time, we were sorting this matter out at the back. And I found it strange. And actually, I defend Air Asia's decision to withdraw because
Mhm.
in their contract, like what you say, Flava, in their contract, looking at the clause, they won.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, and it's
But
not
based on
even
the clause they sign, yeah.
so, and it wasn't even the tipu or the con man. It's a fair and square. They won. Now they're told actually not really because the other party got a different clause. So it's the organizer's fault. How can the team, do it? So I thought it was a correct decision to withdraw at the time. Yeah.
Correct. Because I feel that because there are other factors beyond, just continue playing and all this. Plus, I don't think nobody would want to be woken up in the middle of the night. They were not woken up like, in the evening or anything like that. They already done with the match. Imagine you celebrate a little bit, go back home, sleep, because tomorrow's another big day. And then the organizer wake you up, call you to the lobby and tell you, hey, bro, I think you need to play again. Cannot. Yes, dude, you're sleepy at the same time you're angry. It's tough.
Yeah, stupid like that one. So,
Yeah,
but
so
that's a
definitely.
classic case. Again, I don't want to cast aspersions on the tournament organizers because we don't know, right? What happened?
Yes, we don't.
But my first statement is I'm going to assume that there is a lawyer, and the first thing is you sack the lawyer. What the hell, But if there is no lawyer, then we understand what happened.
Yeah, probably they didn't.
Yeah, didn't get proper advice. So that is a classic case. Right? Even kalau ada lawyer, sorry, ada contract pun boleh salah. That's the point I'm trying to
Yes.
raise. Yeah. What more when you have no lawyer and no contract, So that's how I would recommend. But like I said, no problem. You can DIY. And this is what this Liga A clinic is for. You can DIY. I'm sorry to repeat, Flower. You DIY contract as a player, you see four things. Number one, look at the names of the parties in the contract. Make sure the names are correct. Number two, this contract obviously is about payment. So because payment is the number one character of the contract, make sure the payment is all covered. Like how to pay, when to pay, what if you don't pay. The
Mhm.
third one, again, peculiar to players. It won't exist in the sale and purchase of a house. Peculiar to players, your KPI. Look at
Yes.
the KPI. What is the KPI? Blah, blah, blah. The fourth one, like you said, Flower, termination. Some contract, the fourth termination clause, the termination clause said, kalau you resign, you kena bayar. You tak
Remuneration.
baca, mati. So these are the things you got to negotiate. Yeah, very good question. Very good question.
Correct. I think that is a very good advice. Like if you don't feel if you wanna make judgments on your own, you're going through a contract, just take some time to read because there are some good organizations out there who prepare like 20, 30 pages of contract. Really, really good ones which in detail. Right? So usually they would not ask you to sign right there and then. You can take your time like 1 hour, 2 hours. You just go through page by page because remember you are dedicating your services to that organization for the next 1 year. So I think 1, 2, 3 hours of your time right now would go a long way and it protects yourself from further harm or any kind of
Correct.
harm in the future.
Correct. Yeah. So
Mhm.
just be alert, address your mind, read things before you go. I know you want to be a player or a caster or a talent, but you still need to have some knowledge of law. And even the best CEOs and the best directors in the company, so in town who are not lawyers, they also have general knowledge about law. So what more you also should have it, so yeah, just read up. Go and read up on law. There are plenty of information on the internet. But make sure you read Malaysian law lah, because you're in Malaysia. Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
All
I
right.
think that's
So
a good thing. That's a good thing you highlighted that most of the things on Google are actually US law, which has
yeah.
nothing to do with Malaysia.
So make sure you read the correct one. Yeah.
If you saw First Amendment, Second Amendment, that's not Malaysia. You're right. You're right. You are absolutely right. That's a good point to highlight. I did notice that. I didn't notice
yeah.
that.
Jaga-jaga sikit lah. So there we go. It's been more than an hour. I told you, Flower, this kind like last week, Cammy and I, our experimental talk. I told Cammy half an hour lah. We do half an hour. End up 55 minutes.
Even this one is already like an hour 15. So
Yeah, and I think you and I are just touching the surface, haven't even gone in detail. So, but I enjoy this. I really thank you for coming on board. I know you could be doing, I know you have things to do. Terima kasih. But this is just my way of giving back to the esports and the Twitch community, whatever we can. Whatever free advice we can give, we give. So, ladies and gentlemen, every Monday, unless otherwise, every Monday, 4 o'clock, just come here. You see me or my lawyers talking to somebody about law.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, Flower, you want to ask before we bring this to an end?
No, I think from my end, I think I think I have a lot more lined up for you at a different time for your
Let's do
different
that.
topic.
Let's do that. Yeah. Next time
So,
when you're free, you let me
yes.
know when you're free. I will arrange a time to fit your time. But today, to be fair, you followed my time. Okay. So next
No.
time when you let me know when you are free. They say, hey, Rick, I'm free on Thursday. So if I'm free, then we just do, because we don't have to have a fixed time all the time. But for now, to make the Twitch community easy, Monday 4 o'clock, come here.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yep.
but yeah, if you have more questions, ask me next time. No problem.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Anybody on the floor want to ask anything? Maybe you can open to one question before we call it a day. Anybody want to ask any question? I think people shy to ask. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions you want to ask, you can always go to my website and then look for our email there. Or you just contact people like Flava, the leaders in esports, the seniors. They may not be lawyers, but they may tell you how to find the answer. But thank you very much to all those people who log on and came to our Twitch TV to watch us, including our buddies like Bleed, even Guardian Angel, and of course Rain, who came on board. Even Ammo Box, who was the first person to say hello just now. Okay, so don't go away yet, Flower. I'm going to end the broadcast now. Thank you very much, everybody. Flower, you want to summarize? Anything you want to summarize?
I think from my end, I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you so much to Mr. Richard for organizing this amazing talk right here together with you and your team for RWC. Thank you so much for all the viewers for tuning in. And if you do have any questions, feel free to actually contact myself and Mr. Richard. And I believe he'll be more than happy to actually tend to your questions and inquiries. Yeah. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Flower. Yeah, and let me do a plug for Flower. He's one of the best casters I've seen. If anybody out here want to engage a caster, you have the best one over here. Please look for Flower. All right. Okay. I'm going to end the broadcast now. Thank you very much. See you next week on Monday.